Joseph, Rector, STEKOM University, Indonesia, and MC Novita and Sari for conducting this international visiting lecture event along with the Arunai Engineering College Department of AI&DS faculties. Now, the visiting lecture is all about data and information security. The session will be taken by Professor V. Anitha, Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. So, may I invite our Professor V. Anitha to take over this session, please.
Warm greetings to one and all. So first of all, myself, Anitha V, Department of AI&DS, Assistant Professor, Arunai Engineering College, Tiruvannamalai, Tamil Nadu. Share the screen. So I would like to thank my management, our beloved principal and beloved register sir, and our beloved HOD sir for this wonderful opportunity to share the valuable information about data and information security. So my overall topic is overview about the data and information security. So before enter into the topic, first of all, we have to know about why we need security in the information. So first, data and information are inevitable things in the world. So wherever we go only, we can see the data. We are living in the we are living in the world, we are having the enormous rich amount of the data, and we have no knowledge to how to use our data. So when we are extracting the knowledge out of data, so it is called as the data mining. So when the data, it deserves security in terms of principles of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So this is the somewhat overview about why we have to go for the information security in terms of the data and the information, and how we can protect our data in the valuable information. So nowadays, information plays a vital role in day-to-day life of every single person and the organization. So in our increasingly digital world, protecting our sensitive data from unauthorized access and breaches is our crucial. So we have to protect our entire data. We have to protect our sensitive information for organization as well as the persons also. So we have to use the different cryptographic algorithms in the principles of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And we have to use the encryption technique or being used in order to protect the data over network and other transmission medium also. So let's dive into how to secure our digital environment and stay ahead of our potential threats. So this first slide is our introduction. So what is IT security? So it is a protection of systems from the information disclosure or any threat or any theft or harmful or damage to the our components of our data. So what are all the components of our data? So it may be a hardware component, software component. Our data, it should be as physical or electronic. So we have to collect our data in the presence of the security. So in that security, we have used the many encryption algorithm and cryptography concept also. So first, protect the organization to ability to function, enables to safe operations of the applications implemented in the IT systems. So we have to safeguard our data in the organization also. So before enter into security, so what is mean by data and information? So we know about that data is a raw fact, and information, it defines the purpose and meaning of the data. So this is data and the information. The data should be as independent and the information should be as dependent. So the data is not enough to make a decision, but information it's a wide enough to sufficient to make a decision also. So data is it's a raw fact. So this is the difference between the data and information. So as I said earlier, so data refers to the raw fact that have no meaning. So information is defines as the purpose and meaning of the data. So this is the data and information. So now we have to enter into the security. So data is the raw fact and it should be as organized one, unorganized one. Information defines the purpose and meaning of the data. It should be as dependent also. So next one, what is the security? The security defines the quality or state of being secure to be free from the danger. So you have to protect our sensitive information using some security algorithms or security search algorithms. So it should be free from our danger or protection. So it should be aware of the hardware components, software components, and our data. So a successful organization should have multiple layers of security. So it has many layers of security in the organization they can use. So first one is the physical security. Physical security means it protects the physical items of the data, that it should be as a hardware component or any other devices and objects from unauthorized access or misuse or theft from the organization. So next one is the personal security. Personal security defines the protection of people with an organization. So it should be as overlap with the physical as well as the personal security. Next, we have to go operation and communication security. So operation security. So it can be communicate with media, technology, and content ability to achieve the tools of an organization. So nowadays we are all in the digital era. We are using the many social platform. In the social platform, we have to send your messages. It should be as audio message, text message, that is text, audio, video, like that. So these are all comes under the communication security. In that, encryption technique can be used. How our data can be encrypted, how our data can be easily accessible through the security phase. Next one is the network security. Network security defines the protection of organization data in the devices. So we have to use the in organization, it has LAN connection, local area network, we have to interconnect it with each other. For that, it is a very broad areas in that information security. So this is about data, information, and security, and these are all the multiple layers of the security. And then assessed. So this is very important, how we can protect our assets in the organization. For example, when you have to take the hardware, software, and data. So already I said, so data, it should be as consist of document, photos, music, video, audio, that is email, class projects, whatever. And then hardware is the physical component of your system, maybe it our whatever we can feel and touch. So this should be comes under the hardware. So we can protect our the assessed from the organization using some encryption techniques also. Software knows it is a set of programs along with our organization. So we have to protect our utilities, applications, or we have to use the individual applications also. So these are all the main assets we have to value in the security. Next one, why the information security is very important in a nowadays. Nowadays, we are evolving in a digital era. So all of you, we have to use that electronically messages, electronically payment. So all the informations nowadays we are using through electronically only, mostly electronically only. So whatever the governments, commercial business, and individuals, so all of them, they have to store our information electronically. Why they are storing our information? It has to be electronically means it has compact one and easily it can transfer, instant transfer. So ability to use information more efficiently has resulted in a rapid increase in the value of the information. So it can be potentially stolen from the remote location, or it may be much easier to interrupt, or it may be it can use the any other alter communication purposes also. So for that, for all the organization, any government sectors, commercial business, individuals, we need the security. The information security is very important in our data. So that's why information in security is important in our digital world. Next one, characteristics of information. So there are several critical characteristics of the information in the security. So the value of information comes from the characteristic it possesses. So first one is the availability, accuracy, authenticity, confidentiality, integrity, utility, and possession. So first one is the availability. The users to access information without interference or abstraction. So the users can use the information without any other interference of the person or any other organization. So next one is the accuracy. Accuracy, it is the information. It should be free from mistakes or any other errors. So it should be as free from the mistakes. So next one is the authenticity. Authenticity means to ensure that the given data, that means the data should be as document or communication. So the data should be as electronically or physically. So we have to authenticity of the proof of a user. So this it should be ensure the data in the authenticity. Next one is the confidentiality. Confidentiality, only this with sufficient privileges so may access into the certain information. So the confidentiality, integrity, availability is the three important principles of the information security. So below sites, it will describe detail about the confidentiality, integrity, and the availability. So next one is the integrity. The data cannot be modified without authorization. So this is the integrity. And then next one is the utility. Utility can be used for a particular purpose of a particular document. So which area, which specialization need to use that security, that particular purpose only need to concentrate in the utility of information. And then last one is the possession. The quality or state, it having the control of the ownership. So this is the possession. So these are all the main critical characteristics of the information. And then we have to go for the next slide as the components of an information. So components, an information system is the entire set of the component. It should be as basic as the hardware, software, data, people, procedures, and networks that make the possible use of the information resources in the organization. So each of the IS components has its own strength and weakness as well as its characteristics and users also. So what is meant by software? Software, as we know, we have to use the set of documents, set of programs along with the documentation. So many software is there. Nowadays we are using the antivirus like that also. So we have to update our software day-to-day life. Next one is the hardware. Hardware is a physical component. So anything, whatever we can feel and touch. So it should be comes under the physical technology of the component. So we have to take about the hardware component from the harm or other theft. Next one is the data. The data is a raw and unorganized. Later it should be processed into procedure information. So next one is the people. People means in organization. So many hierarchy is there. For example, we can take system analyst, programmer, technician, engineer, network manager, system admin, etc. So these people comes under the components of the information system. And then next one is the procedures. Procedures, it is a series of document actions to taken to achieve something. So this is the procedure. So series of documented actions taken to achieve something. So what are all the set of rules and policies it can be followed by the organization. And last one is the networks. Networks, the information systems are connected to each other to from LAN, and these LANs are connected to the other networks. So these are all the components of the basic components of the information system. So each and every component has its own strength and weakness. So next one, how we have to completing the security process. So there are many phases is there, many process it can be used for the security process. So confidentiality along with integrity defines the system security. So however, it is not enough for system to be secure. So system must also be the available, and it should allow guaranteed, efficient and continuous use of the information. So where we can achieve the good is a security system. If we cannot use it, so what are all the security measures can be used for the completing our information? So as I said earlier, we can use the cryptographic systems, encryptions algorithm. So these are all the high level of security and flexibility. It can potentially provide all objectives of information security. So along with the principle, the basic principles and important principles of information security is confidentiality, integrity and availability. So next one, before we enter into the information security cryptographic concept or any other encryption technique, we have to aware of the basic terminologies in the cryptography. What is that? Vulnerability, threat, attack, counter measure or control. These are all the basic terms we have used in the information security. So first one is the vulnerability. So vulnerability, it is a weakness in the security system. It should be as damage, or it should be has any loss, or it should be has so it should be in the procedures, design or implementation purpose. So weakness or flaws in the system. So it should be as vulnerability. So I have to set about the basic definitions now. So next one is the threats. Threat it should be a main in middle attack. So set of circumstances it should be based on the potential cause of the information. Also it should be violate the security purpose also. Vulnerability mostly it comes under the main in middle attack. Next one is the attack. Attack who exploits a vulnerability in the attacks of your system. So last one is the controls. Controls means immediately the action can be taken based on your security issues. So we have to immediately protect the measure so that only they can remove or reduce the vulnerability act in the information. So these four are the basic terminologies in the security system. So here, what is the relationship among threats, controls and vulnerability? Here one image is there. So one waterfall, and after that crack is there, and next man is standing is there. So first they have to point the fingers in that crack. So first thread. So where is the thread? A thread is a blocked by control of a vulnerability. So the fact that the violation may occur, the actions might, it should be a guarder against. So here the water is the thread, the crack is the vulnerability, and the finger is the control for vulnerability. So we have to reduce or remove the vulnerability immediately. The action could be taken from the control measures. So these are relationship among threats, control and vulnerability. So next one is the very important and concept in the information security. So as I said earlier, the information security ensures how we can detect the information security, how we can protect the security. We have to use in the principles of confidentiality, integrity and availability. So first one is the confidentiality. So when an unauthorized individuals or system can access information here the confidentiality is breached. To protect the confidentiality, the number of measures can be used. So first we have to classify our information, that is information should be classified. Second, we have to secure our data, that is document storage. And then we have to use the general security policies of the data. So that only here they said authorized person and kept away from those not authorized to possess them. It is implemented using security mechanisms such as usernames, password, access control list, and the encryption techniques. That is search algorithm we have to use for the confidentiality because it ensures that the sensitive information. This is the first principle of the confidentiality. Next, we have to go for the integrity. Integrity, the data cannot be modified without the authorization. So the integrity here, it can be implemented using security mechanism as data encryption and hashing. So the data encryption and hashing, the quality of the state, the quality of the information, the state of the information, it should be being whole, complete and uncorrupted. So it ensures the information, the data cannot be modified without the authorization. So this is the integrity. Another principle of the information security, here they use the security policies, data encryption technique and the hashing. And then next one is the availability. So another principle of the IS is the availability. It ensures that information and resources are available, that is ready to use to those who need them. So it can be implemented using methods as maintenance, software patching, and the network optimization. So here what they tell is the characteristics of information without interference or abstraction in a required format. It means the availability to the authorized users only. So information it should be as nothing in that interference or no abstraction in that interference, no abstraction in the information. So it means the availability to the authorized users only, authorized persons only. For any other information to serve its purpose, that information must be available when it is needed. When it is needed means that information it should be available for the what purpose they need the information. So it should be comes under the availability. So characteristics of information without interference or abstraction in a required format. It means that availability to authorized user. So confidentiality, integrity, and then availability. So and this one is the CR triangle, confidentiality, integrity and availability triangle. So in this diagram they briefly explain about the difference between confidentiality, integrity and availability, and then what is the purpose of CIA, and how we can achieve the CIA, what are all the alterations that is opposite of the CIA. So here first all the things we know, confidentiality, the information is safe from the accidental or intentional disclosure. The information is safe from the accidental or intentional modification or alteration. So it should be comes under the integrity. So first we have to confidentiality in that we have to send a message to no one else know what the message was. That is the confidentiality. Secure the authentication. And then integrity, I send you a message and you have to receive exactly what I send you without any modification. That is the integrity. That is assurance of your data. That is integrity. Availability. Availability. When I have to be send a message and you are able to receive that message. So that is the availability and we have to use that message ready to use. The information only is available for the authorized users only when they need. If they need only, we can send a message and then the client B, they have to receive the message only they need means. So this is about confidentiality, integrity and availability example. So what is the purpose of CAA? How we can secure the data and information in the policies of CAA? The first one, the data is not disclosed in the confidentiality. Integrity, the data is not tampered in the integrity. Availability, the data could be as available. So already I said, we have to achieve the principles of CAA. Many encryption and search algorithm techniques can be used. So for the confidentiality, here we are using the encryption algorithms, and then for that integrity we are using the hashing and digital signature. Availability, we have uses the redundant systems. So what are all the opposite of the CAA? So when we didn't achieve the proper availability of the information security, when we didn't achieve the principles of CAA, the confidentiality should be as disclosure, the integrity should be as altered, and the availability should be as the destruction. So we have to ensure how we can protect our data in the valuable information. So already I said information plays a security, plays a major role in the day-to-day life of every person or organization. So example here in the box, I have to given the account information, that is bank information. We are using the banking server through web, or nowadays we are using the mobile. So in the data, traffic should be encrypted. So here in integrity, we are taking the example as patient's informations. So patient's informations, we have to collect the sensors and the data which into the doctor. So here they are using the IoT techniques. In that, the hacker can also hack the server. We have to modify and integrated the data. So here availability, the example is the authentication service, that is google.com, anytime to anywhere. So what the information they need, so for any information to save its purpose, the information must be available when it is needed. So it should be as the availability. So these are all the overall principles about the information security. The important one is the confidentiality, integrity, and the availability. Through the principle only we can achieve the information security. So next, we have to enter into the encryption techniques, that is cryptographic concept. So before enter into the encryption techniques, so it should be some mini algorithm is there, mini search algorithm is there, encryption technique is there, decryption technique is there. So we have to must aware of the basic terminology of the encryption technique. So what is that first one? Plain text. Plain text. What is mean by plain text? It should be as the original message. So nothing it should be happened in that message. Normally we can send a original message. Cipher text. Cipher text is the coded message. So we have to hide some details inside the message. That is the cipher text. Here next we are using the algorithm for converting plain text to the cipher text. It is a cipher. Next term is the key. The information used in the cipher, it can known only to the sender or receiver. So here we can use the key as public key and the private key. So both sender and receiver, they can use public and the private key. And the next concept is the encryption. Encryption defines the converting plain text to the cipher text. So or it may be called as the encipher. So next one is the decipher, that is decryption. Decryption defines recovering cipher text from the plain text. Next one, what is the cryptography? Cryptography defines the study of encryption principles and methods. So what is the cryptanalysis? Cryptanalysis defines study of principles, methods of the deciphering cipher text without knowing the key. So the both defines the cryptology. The field of both cryptography and cryptanalysis is defines the cryptology. So basic terminology is very important for the cryptography, that is encryption technique. So this is the schematic diagrammatic representation of your cryptographic technique. So first they send the plain text. First they send the plain text to the encryption. So here they use the many encryption algorithm. For example, here the taken as algorithm name as AES. So secret key can be shared by the sender and receiver. So client A, so first they share the secret key to the receiver also. After that, they can send a plain text. So it should be encrypted. And then next, the transmitter, once the plain text is sent, after that receiver side they receive the cipher text. It should be sent by the client A, and then secret key shared by the here also sender and receiver. So here they can use the decryption algorithm, so reverse of the encryption algorithm. So first they use the plain text, and then key could be shared. Here first plain text can be used as the encryption algorithm, next it should be as the decryption algorithm, and final one is the output. So this is the basic schematic representation of the crypto system. Cryptography can be characterized by type of encryption operations used by substitution, transposition, or product. So the number of keys can be used. So already I said single key or private key, or it should be as two key or public key. And then afterwards, the plain text should be processed into a block of text or the stream of cipher text or stream of text. So next one is the goals of security. To prevent the loss of data and systems in terms of availability, integrity, and confidentiality, we have to go for the goals of security in that prevention, detection, and recovery. So in terms of availability, that is in terms of CIA triangle, we can ensure that the access control, encryption, and backup, so on. So prevent attackers from violating the security policy. So next we have to detect attackers from the security policy. And then recovery. So speed recovery, we have to repair the damaged items continuously, and speed recovery, we have to reduce the maintenance risk also. So these are all comes under the goals of security. So next one important one is the security attack. So action that compromises the security, it should be as an individual or organization. So mainly the security attack, it should be as passive attack and then active attack. So first one is the passive attack. Passive attack means it should be as monitoring messages or tracking the messages. For example, eavesdropping or monitoring transmissions. So what is the main goal of the passive attack is obtain information that is being transmitted. So attempts to learn or make use of the information from the system, it does not affect the system resources. Here in this diagram, the attacker can be observing the message, and then the sender can send a message to the receiver. The attacker can be observing the message, that is eavesdropping or monitoring the transmission between the sender and the receiver. So it has the two types. First one is the release of message content, and second one is the traffic analysis. So what is the release of message content? Here in the diagram they shows. So Bob and Alice, so it read that hacker or third person, unauthorized person, read the content of message from the Bob to Alice. That is eavesdropping, or it should be as monitoring. So they have to send the message to Bob to Alice, but third person, that unauthorized person, read the content of the message. So next one is the traffic analysis. So he or she can observe the pattern of messages. The pattern of messages, it should be as audio or video or length of message, location, identity of the message, community host, after that frequency of the message, how it could be transferred. So these are all the traffic analysis, that is internet or other communication facilities. So these are all the possible attacks in the passive: release of message content, traffic analysis. Next, we have to go for the active attack. So active attack means, so passive attack, it can eavesdropping or monitoring the messages, but active attack involve some modification of the data. So the attacker first they have to receive the messages. In that messages itself, he can modify the some content. So that is the active attack. Attacker attempts to break into system and it can modification of the data, that is changes of data. So active attack should be subdivided into the four categories. So first one is the masquerade, second one is the replay, third one is the modification of messages, fourth one is the denial of service. So what is the masquerade? Masquerade means the message should be as manipulated, spoofing or stolen the user information. That's a masquerade. Next one is the replay. Replay, the attacker or intercepting or retransmitting the data. Retransmitting the data. Third one is the modification of messages. The messages, it can be modified afterwards. It's sent to the sender. The sender afterwards, these messages can be received by the receiver. Next one is the denial of service. Server with traffic overload of a website or a network. Server with traffic overload in a website or network. So it should be as denial of service. It should be as overload means the messages will not be received through the receiver. So in that middle itself, the server with traffic means it should be overloaded, means the messages can't be sent the properly. So in this diagram, the Bob sent message to the allies. So in that third person, it captured the message from Bob to allies. Later, replay message to the allies. So they can change some modification from the original messages. So next one is the denial of service, that is due to of traffic overload. So these are all comes under the active attack. So next one, what is the main difference between active attack and passive attack? So passive attack, it is hard to detect. Active attack, it is hard to prevent. So neither sender nor receiver is aware of the attack. It is difficult to prevent the physical software and network vulnerabilities. So more emphasis is the prevention than detection. So prevention is the better in that passive attack. In the active attack, the detection has been effect means it may be also contribute for the prevention also. So the detect and recover from any disruption or delays in the active attack. So these are all some common points about difference between the active and passive attack. So next important that a cryptographic encryption technique is the digital signature, that is electronic equivalent of our handwritten signature. Nowadays the handwritten signatures are hard to forge also, so it can be more secure. We are using the electronic signature using a digital certificate and cryptographically bound to the document using the public key encryption or public key infrastructure. The digital signature is a mathematical scheme for verifying the authenticity of digital messages and document. So it is a mathematical scheme for verifying the authenticity of digital messages and document. So nowadays the digital signature can be achieved using the public key encryption technique only. So what is the idea behind in the digital signature? Here they given an example. Bob uses a private key. So already I said the key should be as public key and private key. It can uses his private key to sign a message. So after that, the receiver side verifies the signature using the Bob's public key. So first they send the private key with the signed message. Afterwards, they can decrypt the message using the Bob's public key. So here public and private key can be used for the encryption technique. So the data authentication can be provided by the digital signature. So here in this diagram, it can be represented by the private key and then public key is for verification. And then they have to send that along with the digital signature. So one-way transmission can be occurred. Next one is the challenges. So simplest example of challenge is response to the protocol is password authentication. So we are all giving the password authentication to our real-time communication of our social media. So it is the simplest example. So even nowadays it can be used of a password authentication also. So for that purpose, here we are using the security system as signed challenge. So what is that signed challenge in the real-time communication? Apart from the digital signature means, so we have to send a random number along with our name or password username. So that random number, it should be known by the client B, that is other side of the receiver. So along with your username password with the random number. So here the example they said, ally sends a random number that is challengeable. That random number, it should be a challengeable one to the Bob replies with challenge. So using the challenge, it can be encrypted with the digital signature. So along with digital signature, we have to use the challenges. It is the simplest example of the challenges, that is the password. For added security, each set of code is only valid for a particular time of period. So we have to give the security for that signed challenges is, that is for minimum period only we can use that random number challenges. For example, we can take our password once in a 3 months or 6 months. We have to keep on updating. We can't keep on changing our password. So these are all comes under the signed challenges. So digital signature along with the random number, we have to ensure the security. It's valid for a particular time period. So these are all comes under the signed challenges. So next one is the certification authority. Certification authority, it trusted the entity that issues, stores, and sign digital certificates that verify the ownership of a public key. A third party trusted by all users that creates, distributes, revokes, and manage the certificates. The certificate, it should be bind users to the public key. So for example, if the allies want to obtain Bob's public key, they need to want to obtain the public key means she first retrieves the Bob certificate from a public forum. That is, here they can tell about the public directory. So next, she verifies the CA signature on the certificate itself, confidentiality signature. Its signature verifies correctly. She can assurance from the trusted CA. This really is the Bob's public key or not. So after that, the public key can be sent to confidential information. After that, the Bob can verify the signature. After that, it can be protected by the assurance of the certificates. So trusted entity that issues, stores, and signs digital certificates that verify the ownership of a public key. So here the integrity can be used for the certification authority. So integrity is provided by the certification of the authority. Here they can assure our data and information. So that is the certification authority. So next one is we have to conclude about the attacks on confidentiality, integrity, and then availability. So compromises the systems in ways that affect services of information security. First one is the confidentiality. So it should be as unauthorized disclosure of information. So what could be attack on integrity? Detection or corruption of information. And the next one is the attack on availability, disruption or denial of services. So we have to ensure that the attack, we have to prevent and detect and response of the attack. How we can prevent, detect, and response? So proper planning reduces the risk of attack and increases capabilities of detection and response if an attack does not occur. So prevention, before itself we have to proper planning. It is the first step to reduce the risk of an attack. And then after that we have to detect the attack immediately. So it should be as decreasing our attack issues. And then response and attack, if we have to ensure that it does not occur in that. So first one is the prevention. So establishment of the prevention, it can use the policy and access control, that is who will be the identification, authentication, authorization, where we have to grant it, what we have to grant it, we have to know about the biases of the information. So next we have to prevent our hardware, software, and then services also. Here we can use the security mechanisms and security policies. In that, attackers cannot defeat security mechanism by changing them. So examples of the preventing mechanisms. Here they given some examples of how we can prevention of the attacks. First one is the password. Password we all know. So it can be prevent unauthorized system access. That is hardware. Next one is the firewall. It can be prevent unauthorized network access. And then encryption. Encryption prevents the breaches of confidentiality. And last one is the physical security devices to prevent the theft in the components of the hardware. So it should be comes under the physical security devices, and we have to maintain all the things through the measures of the preventive mechanisms. We have to maintain in the prevention techniques. So here the one quote says, is the prevention is enough for your information security? Absolutely not at all. Prevention systems are never perfect. So here they said no bank says our safe is so good and we don't need an alarm system. No museum says our door and window locks are so good. We don't need a night watchman. So detection and response here, how we can get security in the real world means through the possible of detection and response also. And they are the only way we can possibly get security in the cyberspace world. So we have to detect also. So next one is the detection. So determine that either an attack is an underway or it should be a reported or not. How we can detect the information? How we can detect the information from the attack? So continuously we have to monitoring, that is real-time monitoring as close as possible. Monitor the attack to provide the data about that nature, severity, and the results. So it should be as intrusion verification and notification. Here we can use the intrusion detection system. So many security algorithms can be used for the detection. So specifically we can use for the IDS technique, intrusion detection system. So typically it can monitor the various aspects of the system including the attack also. So here the example they given, denial of access to a system when a user repeatedly enters a incorrect password. So it should be as denied only. 3 times or 4 times we have to enter an incorrect password means automatically the system can be shut down or it should be switched off, like that message will come. So it should ensure the detection. And then, so we have to conclude with our communication of the information security. So each organization develops and maintains the own unique culture and values. With that corporate culture, there are many communities of interest are used: information security management and professional, information technology management and professional, organizational management and professional. So these are all the interest of the community. So if the information security, it is an art or science. So with the level of complexity in today's information system, the implementation of information security has often been described, it should be a combination of art and science also. So what is that art and science in the information security? The interaction between users, policy and technology. It should be as the art of information security. So what is the science of information security? So dealing with the technologies, virtually actions, interactions between the specific hardware and software. So it should be as the combination of art and science. And then last, I have to conclude some conclusions about the information security. So first one is the protect information value. So organization need to protect the value of information in the balance of the principle of CIA triangle, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, to protect the information in a day-to-day life in a real world environment. So we can protect our own data in the valuable information. So next one is the ensure safety and privacy. To ensure safety and privacy of critical data, that is such as customer account details, we have to ensure that username, password. So all the things we have to ensure the safety and then give the privacy to our customer also. And the next one is the build trust customers by safeguarding the data. We have to give the trust for the customers by satisfying or safeguarding our data, their data. Next one is the understand threat. Understand threat means empowering the individuals with knowledge. Empowering the individuals with knowledge, it is the understandable threat. Next, allocate funds. The fund can be allocated through the organization, government sectors. So we have to implement the many security algorithms, many security issues. So we need a fund for the information security. We have to allocate for the fund for the information security. Next one is the manage risk. Identify the risk management as soon as possible in the IS forms, that is information security. And then last one is the implement information storage mechanism. So we have to give the powerful security policy, powerful storage mechanism to implement the information security. So that's all about the overview of information data and information security. So thank you all. If any queries means, please share.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. And for our participant, if you have any question for the speaker, please add them to the chat or you can raise your hand. Yeah, first question, we have question from participant in the Zoom chat. Yeah, hi Professor. I was wondering about the relationship between data analysis and information security. With so much data being analyzed and processed, how do organizations ensure that sensitive information remains secure? Are there specific security measure or protocol they commonly implement to protect data during the analysis process? Thank you. This question from Mr. Cello.
So for each and every organization, we must ensure the security policy for the individual data or the for each and every organization to ensure the security policy for the various aspects. So as well, I said many security, many multiple layers can be used for the organization availability, accuracy, authenticity. In that, we have to use the components of the organization also. It should be as the physical component, hardware component, software component. So we must ensure the security in our organization. We have to implement the principles of the information security, that is confidentiality, integrity, and the availability also. We must ensure and we have to aware about the knowledge of the information security. So only we can use that information, we can protect our data, because the information security plays a major role in the day-to-day life of the every person or in the organization also.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question from Mr. Jersey. I've been reading about the increasing risk of data breach and cyber attack, especially with the growing use of big data. How do companies strike a balance between making data accessible for analysis and ensuring that is secure from unauthorized access? Are there particular encryption technique or security framework that are recommended for this purpose? Thank you.
Same as that, we have to increase the risk of the security in the organization, and we have to so it's a see data, it should be has anywhere in the world. but we may not aware of that what data it can be used for the real-time application. So data set is, it should be as a real entity, rich entity in that world. So we have to ensure that the data, what data can be used for the security policy, what data set we have to need for the policy. So it should be extracted from the knowledge, that one it should be as the data mining. So for that cyber attacks, we have to achieve the breach of the information security. So nowadays we are using the growing that use of the big data, cyber security, IoT concepts also. So we have to ensure that from that unauthorized access also. So particular encryption algorithm, many encryption algorithm can be used. So based on the data set, based on the authentication, that is availability of the user, we have to use the basic encryption or decryption technique. We have to framework for our security.
Okay, thank you for answering. I think it's very clear answer from Professora. Before I close this event, for all participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your keen cooperation. Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to thank you for Miss Anita for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all participants. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future with Arunai Engineering College India. The visiting lecture for today and here we hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day.